Okay, so you made it through the intro video. Thanks for joining me for the next video. Well, as you can see, I'm creating content based on individual responsibility, and one of the things I'm doing by creating this content is answering the question for myself on whether or not I think God can seriously use me. I hope by this content God is able to use me to help others like you or others seeking out information similar to you and to what I'm putting out there. So to put into context, some of the individual responsibility I'm looking to help encourage and inspire others is something that I've really felt. One, really just by this quick questionnaire is, do you seriously think that God can't use you? Well, if you look in the Bible, we know that Noah was a drunk, Abraham was too old, Isaac was a daydreamer, Jacob was a liar, Leah was ugly, Joseph was abused, Moses had a stuttering problem, Gideon was afraid, Samson had long hair and was a womanizer, Rahab was a prostitute, Jeremiah and Timothy were too young, David had an affair and was murderer, Elijah was suicidal, Isaiah preached naked, Jonah ran from God, Naomi was a widow, Job went bankrupt, Peter denied Christ, the disciples fell asleep while praying, Martha worried about everything. The Samaritan woman was divorced. Zacchaeus was too small. Paul was way too religious. Timothy had an ulcer, and what do you know? Lazarus was dead. And yet God was able to use all these people. Why couldn't he use me, and why can't he use you? So let's get into how we can be a little bit more responsible with our time, treasure, and talents that God gave us. Now, one of the things that I'm trying to do, as I have been a real big time waster, some of you that have known me since high school knew that I did video production in high school and was in front of the camera. Haven't pretty much been there in about 20 years now, and I decided to get back in front of the camera to share all this other information that I had gathered throughout the years, attempting to hopefully encourage others to look to God first, because he will guide your path, even though you will make your own plan. So when we look at the productivity quadrants, we have 4 different quadrants. 2 that you want to spend most of your time in, 2 you definitely do not. And if you do, you want to spend very little time there. That's one of the things I'm trying to do by putting myself back in front of the camera, is giving myself less time to do the bottom 2, and hopefully more time sitting in the second quadrant. You have the quadrant of necessity, which is important and urgent. It's a stressed life and you want to stay away from it, but it's the crises you have to take care of. It's the emergencies, disasters, the deadlines on your projects, last minute preparations, and just pressing problems in your life. Like for myself, I do homeschool my son, so that could be a pressing issue sometimes, or making sure that my dog is taken to the vet. So the quadrant you want to live in is quadrant 2, the quadrant of quality, which is important and not urgent. It's when you want to exercise, you want to build up your relationships with your family members and your friends and those around you and your communities. You want to clarify what your values are. What is it that you're searching for next? Why do you wake up every morning? Why do you go to sleep every night? Why do you go to work? Why do you go out to a restaurant? Why do you go see a movie? Why do you go to church? Ask yourselves these questions and decide what your values are. Decide if you want to write a book. Decide if you want to read a book. I will tell you right now, some of the reading that I've been doing recently, the Constitution of the United States, it is everything you need to know what your individual rights and responsibilities, most importantly, are in being a United States citizen. And of course, the Bible, obviously, I search through it for new insights, and I pray the Holy Spirit has given me that discernment to decipher what it is that He's trying to teach me. Recently in February, I read through Jettison Franklin's Fasting Edge, did a journal with it as well. It really helped clear my head of a lot of things going on in the month of February, and I was able to move forward, and here I am today doing the next step. Other recent books I have read is the Jordan B. Peterson 12 Rules for Life, The Antidote for Chaos. Thank you, Dr. Peterson, for your inspiration and encouragement to starting this Patreon channel as well. 2 that I really like that I think work together and I would really like to see these two people meet in person and talk. Would be Steve Hilton with More Human and Charles Koch with Good Profit. Not sure how they're doing these days, but both were very good reads. And the last two was Bill O'Reilly's Killing Jesus and Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. So remember that the two quadrants that I've probably been living in for way too long is the quadrant 3, quadrant of deception, stuff that's not important and it is urgent. So whether it be the interruptions, some of the phone calls, some of the mail and the reports that I've read, some meetings, stuff that appears to be important but is really not important. So it interrupts your productivity. It keeps you busy unnecessarily. And then quadrant 4, the quadrant of waste, not important and it's not urgent. So spending 5 hours on Facebook or YouTube, not getting anything out of the content that you're consuming, playing video games on cell phones. There are some motor skills I know with playing Xbox. I've seen it in my son, so definitely everything within moderation. But there are other time wasters out there as well. Mindless TV shows, trivia, busy work, and wasting what could be a good time. Well, thanks again for checking out this next step video from Quinn. I appreciate you hitting subscribe below, hit the bell for notifications for the next time I get one out there, and check me out on Patreon if you'd like to subscribe to longer videos. Thank you.